Councilmember Paul Harrison is unavoidably absent, so it's four of us this evening. I'd like to call on the assistant principal, Matt Rubin, to help us with the invocation. Special invocation tonight.
Thank you all for having us. My name is Matt Rudum, the assistant principal at Orangewood Christian School, right up the road here in Maitland. And tonight we have some 7th grade students who've been working on some speeches in their class. And so we want to thank you guys for having us. We're very humbled and grateful that we get to be here and get to share with some amazing students. We're very proud of our education. We're very proud of our students. So I'm going to introduce them tonight. Our 7th graders have just finished a unit on speech writing with their English classes led by 2 very talented educators, Ms. Stacy Wild and Ms. Amber Cooper. Students started the unit on speech writing by studying Malala, a Nobel Peace Prize winning winner who, at the age of 11, stood up to the Taliban in her own native country of Pakistan by speaking out against the horrible rules and violations of human rights. Students watched and analyzed a powerful speech that Malala gave to the United Nations at the age of just 16 years old. Students were then asked to write a speech about how they could change the world and make the world a better place. As students gave their speeches, their teachers were very moved. The students' speeches described local stories of violence, international stories of war all around the world, images and stories that clearly had affected them. Their speeches included deep concerns about the environment and the political divisions in our country. They discussed their passions, including animals and space exploration. Students shared about lost loved ones and the impact that those individuals have had on their young lives. They also focused on how kindness and treating others with respect could create positive change in our world. These speeches are a glimpse into how these students and their generation can positively impact our world today. Speaking to you tonight will be Annie Schultz, Aaron McLarnon, Harper Katauskas, Cooper Bradford, and Margaret Grace Leardom. Thank you again very much for having us tonight to listen to these talented students and their speeches, and I hope that you enjoy them.
And here's how I can impact the world. I've thought a lot about how I can impact the world. How could a 7th grader possibly have that great of an effect on the world and the people in it? My ideas on this topic are big. I was taught by my parents to always reach higher, to aim for the stars people. So I tried that. Then I realized that my hopes and ideas were too big for me right now. I thought of the biggest things that mean the most to me. Help the endangered animals, the extreme fires in California due to not enough rain, melting ice caps in Antarctica, endangering the lives of the animals there and the world itself, elephants being hunted for ivory trading, and the homeless. And in all of those things, I realized I might not be able to contribute to them in massive ways, but that doesn't mean I'm not able to contribute to them in small ways. By talking to my friends and family on these topics, I can make people more aware of some of the major things happening right in front of our eyes. That's what I can do right now. Contribute in small but beneficial ways. But I realized, helping all of those big things is wonderful. Saving our planet, protecting nature and animals. We're not to my own school. I can still contribute to the world, but also to the people I spend most of my life with. So that's what I will do. Be a better friend, a better student, a better daughter, a better person. My goal is to perform random acts of kindness a day and achieve the things that are destined for me. As we learned from Malala, Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, Gandhi, and Jesus, we are the people that can do one small thing in return for something much greater. As my father once asked me, what happens when you throw a rock into a pond? Or so, what happens to the water? It ripples, doesn't it? That small little pebble, that small ripple, that can all change the world. So for example, if I'm that small little pebble, and the water is the world, or my school per se, and I do one good deed a day to the world or my school, and then Margaret follows my example, then Harper, and then Aaron, and Cooper, and Miss Wild. Next, those deeds would reach the 750 students at Orangewood, next to the 20 million people in the state of Florida, and then to the 328 million people in the United States, and eventually to the ultimate goal of the 7 billion people in the world. Giving to the world and doing things for other people is a gift given by God, and I will use that gift to protect people, serve people, and treat others as I would want to be treated. Giving to others is something that we can all benefit from. It will help so many people, and it is so crucial that we all work together on this. I cannot do this by myself. One person can help, but with the help from all of you, we can accomplish something much greater. So, while I can be the start of the ripple, I ask all of you to help out by spreading good. Cast your rock into the pond and help others. I promise you that it will not only do good for them, but it will also do good for you. So, to answer the question of how are you going to make a difference in the world? It's simple for me. I will create one small ripple and hope that it blossoms into 7 billion ripples. Because one good deed a day can change the world forever. Thank you.
My name is Aaron Maitland. Have you ever tried to make the world a better place? You probably have, but how if you're just a kid? How are you going to make a difference? How are you going to be able to solve COVID or cancer or even major life crises that adults can't figure out? Well, us kids may not be able to solve those problems, but we can be nice and compliment friends and strangers. My goal is to be nice and comforting to every person I see that needs help, having a bad day, or even if they're just having a normal day. I want to make everybody's day better than it was the day before. How am I going to make the world a better place? My part is that I'm going to be kind and loving to everyone so the day is better than it was before they talked to me. I'm going to make it my goal to make the world a better place. I might grow up and be a highly respected person with a lot of influence, in which if I were nice, I would be an influence to the people who watch me. Also, I could spread God's word to people who might not know about it, or I could preach God's word to help others and myself grow closer and closer to God. Did you know that according to Google, 13.7% of people are poor? We could also give to the poor as stewards of God. Sometimes we have to imagine how other people feel. And if I were poor and someone came up to me and told me something nice or inspirational, I would feel like I'm made from more than just an ordinary person. Because we are not just ordinary people. We are God's children in God's church. I'm going to make the world a better place by telling others about God and learning more about His Word. I could preach God's Word to others who might not have the chance to learn His love and our purpose. I could help answer questions that others might have about God and His plan. If we all grow closer together in God's family, we can eliminate a bunch of sin in the world and make it a better and safer place to live. And I can play a big part in transforming the world by telling others about God. Do you love food? I love food, except for beef stew. Let's all be honest, we all love food. But food might just be a part of our day that we don't really think about that much. But other people around the world would die for my mom's beef stew. I personally would rather starve than eat that. People in places around the world don't have food to eat. But instead of me just throwing up or throwing away my mom's casserole in the trash, I could give it away to people who can't get food for themselves or their families. I personally should be more grateful for what I get because other people don't get anything to eat. We can help people in so many ways that can have a snowball effect. So people say you can't help them all. But I say just help one, and that one helps one more, and so on. You can make a big difference in spreading God's love to the world, and all of it in God's glory, not mine. In conclusion, we all have to do our part to help others so the world can be a better and safer place to live. Thank you.
to yourself, how can I make the world a better place? Well, I know how I can do my part to serve the people of God and make the world a better place. I can show and share God's love to everyone I come in contact with. The first way I can show God's love to the world is to do service projects and demonstrate that if the King of the world and of heaven can send his Son to serve us and die for our sins, then the people of God must follow his example and do the same for others. Think about it. The most powerful God cares and loves us so much that he washed man's feet. In John 13:14, we see Jesus teaching us how to treat others. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. This verse is saying that we should serve others because we have already been served. The next way I can share God's love in this broken world is to do something as simple as to work hard to include everyone and make sure they have someone to sit with at lunch and someone to hang out with any time of the day, and make them feel like they have a buddy and someone to talk to. Being kind can make people feel good, but not just that. It can also affect their thoughts about Christ. If you are kind, people will notice and wonder why you are different. And they might even ask you. This opens up an opportunity to share the amazing news of Jesus and his love for us. A little bit of loving kindness can go a long way. The Bible says in Galatians 5:22, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control." This proves that the Lord commands us to be kind to one another. Have you ever said a kind word to someone and their whole face changed? That one word could have impacted their whole day, week, or even year. Our words really do matter. The last way that I can please God and change the world is to pray for others. This is a very easy and powerful way to change the world. You can pray for their family and their health, their relationship with Christ, and their safety. I don't just have to limit it to the people that I know. It can be people that I haven't even met before. Your prayers matter, and God hears every prayer. So, when you lay down at night, before bed, or before dinner, take a second and think about all the people that need your prayers, because every little prayer is making a difference in this world. The last way you can make a difference is the way we are motivated. What is your motivation behind making a difference? The number one thing that we need to remember is this question. Is what you are doing glorifying to God, and would it make a difference in other people's lives? If you apply this question to your everyday life, you will be making a huge difference in the lives of God's people and in the world we live in. Every one of God's people matters, and they are worthy of your kindness, prayers, and service. So do these things and make a difference.
Hello, I'm Cooper Bradford. Today I'd like to tell you about how exploring space is a very good idea in the near future. Space is a giant place that never ends, at least that we know of. Space is a very important part of humanity. It can show us the possibility of there being life on other planets. Earth is an amazing place that we should appreciate. However, the vast and sheer frontier of space is truly unimaginable. I believe that space is the next big thing for generations to come. Now, I know you're probably wondering, well, Cooper, we don't even know everything about our planet, so why should we be exploring space? Well, I have 3 reasons why I think space is a good thing to explore. I think the 3 main reasons would be exploring, even though we don't know everything about our own planet, also a little bit about how it all started, and safety and children. Well, this is going to be my first point. You have to understand that we won't ever know everything about our own planet. The world is constantly changing, as the other species. Companies like SpaceX are now only a few years away from letting humans set foot on the moon for the first time in decades. We're also only a few years away from setting foot on Mars. Setting foot on Mars, that would be amazing. In fact, most of us in our lifetime will possibly set foot on Mars or the moon. I personally would like to start my own company to build rockets and make a difference in the world. Now, at this point, your eyes are probably a little bit glazed over and you're a bit bored. Well, the next part should be a little bit more exciting. This brings me to point number 2. Now, you probably know who the Wright brothers were. They built the first powered aircraft ever. Now, as the years went on, the technology improved. World War I is a very good example. Planes such as the Red Baron or Sopwith Camel, which were 2 airplanes that are very much recognized, they figured out how to get them to go faster than they did, and also how to put guns on them and make them weapons. During World War II, this is when fighter planes such as the Corsair or P-51 Mustang fighters that were very much recognized during the war, could exceed upwards of 400 miles an hour. Now that's very fast, and this is when they started actually doing things such as metal construction and different methods such as cloth and wood. Towards the end of the war, something new and exciting was invented. A special plane made by the Germans called Messerschmitt 262 used this new technology. This new advancement, the jet engine. Now after World War II, there was another war called the Korean War. This is when the jet engine really started to have its day. This is known as the jet age. Now, there was one last war known as the Cold War. I know that they overlapped, but the Cold War was when it started. This is when the newest, latest, and greatest technology was invented, the rocket engine. Now, USA and Russia were in something called the space race, and they both thought it would be a great idea to take off the warhead or nuke on top of the rocket and stick a man on top of it, which is known as the Man in the Can project. This is how rockets kind of started. We then walked on the moon and did many other things such as the space shuttle. We need to carry on this era of flight and rockets. I would personally like to maybe start my own aerospace company, something like Lockheed Martin, to keep this era going. I would think that in a few years, Mars tickets in a good amount of years, Mars tickets could possibly be cut in half to the price that they are. Prices may seem expensive if you cut that in half, but in reality, it's not, considering how much you get to do. Now, some people are probably worried about safety and carbon footprint, considering that you're being launched up in a giant missile. This brings me to my final point. Yes, we've had some safety issues, such as Challenger and Columbia. However, space is now so much more safer and accessible. The Falcon 9, which is a commonly used rocket made by SpaceX, has had over 124 successful missions in the past 11 years. The success rates are just a bit over 98%. There may be other ways to make rockets even safer, but that would be a whole other discussion. Now about carbon footprint. Now I know some of you are probably thinking, Cooper, well, what about global warming? Well, I know the atmosphere is heating up, and it may seem that we are heating up the world with our gas-powered cars and how this. If you're worried about it, I would encourage you to look at the past and see things such as this global warming event happening in other time periods. Besides, rockets don't pollute, let's say, as much as planes, cars, or trains, because there's not as many. So I've spoken a lot about space exploration, history of space, and safety. I hope all of you walk out of here maybe thinking about this. So now I can conclude and say that rockets are definitely the future of the world, and I hope some of you will agree with me. I hope to be able to start my own company and to be able to make a difference in the world. I think that going to space is a great idea. I think that going to Mars is a really good idea. We can start a new world on Mars. We can learn more about our universe.
Hi, I'm Laura Spiro. The one thing I would change about the world is red tide. Me and my family love going to the beach and have seen the effects right here on our local beaches. Have you ever smelled or seen dead fish on your relaxing beach trip? If you have, chances are it's red tide. Red tide is a naturally occurring patch of algae that kills many marine life, such as fish, manatees, dolphins, and even small sharks. Red tide also causes respiratory irritation to humans. This can be seen as asthma, coughs, or even worse, rashes. You may be wondering how we can stop red tide and how this will help our world. Here are 3 ways: going organic, ocean-safe gardens, and caring for the environment around us. The first thing I would do to prevent red tide is to go organic. The chemicals and pesticides found in non-organic fruits and vegetables can cause red tide to spread. The red tide is affecting the beaches along the coast and making them inaccessible to the public. You may also buy organic shampoos, body wash, conditioner, and face wash. The harsh chemicals, such as nitrogen found in them, can cause the chemicals to wash down to the ocean. Even though this is just a small thing washing into the ocean, it can cause bigger changes in our world. They'll all run off into the ocean in the end, which leads me to the second way we can stop red tide. The second way I would stop red tide is by having an ocean-friendly garden. You can do this by switching turf lawns for native lawns. Native lawns suck in all the rainwater instead of running it back off into the ocean, but a turf lawn does not. It is one way we can stop red tide also. Another way is from using an ocean-safe garden is to use your home gardens instead of buying fresh produce. Fresh produce can be found in good gardens and in stores. But in stores, they have bigger amounts of nitrogen than you can even imagine. This is fine for our health, but awful for the oceans. The nitrogen causes the algae to grow, which also causes more ways for the fish to die. You can do small things to change the world with red tide. The next one is to go to a car wash where they recycle water instead of running it back into the oceans. Our oceans are very precious to our world, and that's why I think it's so important to also change them by using shorter showers and brushing your teeth. That water may seem like a small amount to you, but did you know that we use over 16 pounds in our water? That's a lot to be washing into the ocean with the chemicals. Red tide is getting worse, but we have the power to change it by going organic, ocean-safe gardens, and planting small things for our environment. We can make red tide stop. Next time you smell something fishy, make sure it's not fish. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all. That was very impressive. To hear all that gives us some hope, I think, for the future. If you guys can carry those ideals through and keep in touch with your teachers and your communities and each other, that is really, it's a great thing. And thank you for coming and sharing those thoughts with us. Obviously, there's a lot of hard work with you and your teachers, so thank you.
Real quick, I was a speechwriter for many years, and I've judged a lot of speech contests. Tom Rick, Maitland, Middle Lakes, Civilian, you guys are good. Very talented and very well coached and very good writers. The way you delivered that without being nervous and speaking clearly, that was very impressive.
Stay engaged and keep going to council meetings and get involved with politics because that's the way you're going to change the world. Start small and work your way up. That's great.
I think we have some sustainability board members here.
And a Lakes Advisory Board member over there.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah, yes, we definitely have some board members, future board members out there.
Okay. Well, if you all would join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wonder if the Orangewood students and their teachers could come up front and maybe we could get a picture before you go.
I want to get in on that IGO and do
Them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
In Paris, I usually pay about $150 an hour for that.
Are the mics on? Because I tapped that one over and it wasn't, even though it's green.
That meant a lot.
We're just getting to the good stuff. And this is good stuff. So, Yahira Cordero, would you please join me up here for our Employee of the Quarter presentation? All right. This is Yahira Cordero. She joined the city in January 2020 as the administrative assistant to the city manager, an assistant city manager, and has been a tireless and dedicated member of the city staff. Yahira came to the city from the Florida Department of Corrections, Probation and Parole as a probation officer in the Volusia County 7th District as a court services officer. In 2009, Yahira joined the U.S. Army Reserve and was honorably discharged in 2017. Yahira graduated from Florida Atlantic University and has a Bachelor of the Arts degree in criminal justice. Since the day Yahira started with the city, she has gone above and beyond. She accepts all assignments and takes full responsibility for all tasks assigned with a positive attitude. She can be counted on to assist other departments with their workload. Following the resignation of the Human Resources Specialist, Yahira did not hesitate at all to assist HR with several of their administrative meetings. She is extremely trustworthy, responsible, respectful, and has a positive attitude. She is a true team player. We are proud to recognize Yahira Cordero as Employee of the third quarter of 2021. Wow, that's an impressive history there. I didn't know I see you all the time in City Hall. I didn't even know how that impressive history you have. It's awesome. Would you like to
Well, now you know a little bit about me, with history. Thank you, Mayor, so much. I really do appreciate those words as well. In recognition of being employed in the third quarter, I am excited and nervous. I use a lot of emotions, but I'm really thankful for each and every one of you, my supervisors. Maria especially, I know that this one's your last meeting. I'm really miss you. Thank you, Teresa, for coming here and supporting. Thank you, Kathy, as well, for always being there for encouragement, as well as helping me transition from something that's criminal justice all the way to mainly public administration. And most of all, I would like to thank and recognize my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for His grace and mercy, as well as my husband. I know he's not present, but I still would like to thank him for his encouragement, his support, and love. And again, thank you all, my colleagues, my friends, my supervisors, as well as, for this recognition. I'm really blessed and honored. Thank you.
Back to the business of the city, we have a public hearing of an ordinance regarding the right-of-way abandonment. Maria, would you please read the title?
An ordinance of the city of Maitland, Florida, vacating and abandoning a portion of Lake Catherine Drive right-of-way according to the plat hereof as recorded in plat book R, page 47 of the public record of Orange County. More particularly described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, recording, and an effective date.
Hello, Kim.
Hello.
Tracy, our Public Works Director, would you like to tell us what we're about?
Yes. The property owners at 815 Lake Catherine Drive submitted an application to vacate and abandon a portion of the city right-of-way on Lake Catherine Drive adjacent to their home. The applicants have requested approximately 21 square feet to be vacated in order to rebuild an existing dock. The application has met all city code requirements, and we received the utility letters of no conflict. The Development Review Committee approved or recommended approval for the vacation at their October 14th meeting, and the ordinance was introduced at the October 25th City Council meeting. So after receiving public input, staff recommends the council to move to adopt the ordinance to vacate and abandon a portion of Lake Catherine Drive.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Does anybody have any questions for Kim on this issue? Okay. Let's open the public hearing on this. Does anybody in the public have anything to say? Would like to address this at all? See, Mr. Middleton, you're good? You're welcome to come in and say something, but if you don't have to, if you don't want to, but we'd love to hear from you if you'd like.
I'll say one quick thing.
Okay, sure.
And this is being videocast?
I don't know. Are we, Robert, we live?
The world is watching.
Yeah.
I saw on the website it was, and my brother completely just harassed me after because my voice cracked about 7 times. And that's what I choose to say, cracked, and I got choked up for doing that. I just love the city of Maitland. I just want to, I know I'm not going to say anything new here. I just want to say I just love the city of Maitland. I love the police and fire department. Everyone's been so open to this. If anybody here is new and I just don't know any better, maybe everybody comes here every time for this. It's just really a pleasure to deal with people that actually care and they want to work through the process of doing it. I've learned a lot through this whole thing, and I just want to say thank y'all. That's it. And I didn't joke up or do any crying type thing. All right. Thank you, everybody. Sorry.
Yeah, all the way through that beautiful thing.
You're gonna have to do better than that if you want to hang with those kids.
Oh my God. Good point.
All right. Okay, anybody else in the public have anything for us? Seeing none, let's close the public period.
Move to adopt an ordinance to vacate and abandon a portion of Lake Catherine Drive.
Second.
A motion and a second. Maria, would you read the roll? Call the roll.
Councilmember Guthrie,
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas,
Aye.
Councilmember Wild, Mayor Lance.
Aye. Oh, that, yes, okay, so we're done. Thank you. Congratulations. You have your 21 feet.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. Everybody go home to the family.
Hey, we're invited for the
Every time.
for the dock party, right?
Hey, everyone stop.
Be over there with my paddleboard.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right, y'all.
All right. Sharon and fellow city manager, do you have any old business to report?
I don't have any old business. I do have some updates at the end of the manager's report.
Okay, great. Consent agenda. Does any member of council wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? None. Is there any public comment on items 2 through 6 of the consent agenda? Anyone? No. All right, no public comment. Maria, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Thomas,
Aye.
Councilmember Wild,
Aye.
Councilmember Guthrie,
Aye.
Mayor Lance.
Aye. I think I jumped
Did
the
somebody
gun
make
there.
I made the motion, you just couldn't.
And I seconded it,
I
John.
felt it. I felt it.
Yeah, you felt it.
We have a motion and a second. Maria read the roll.
It's my fault, I didn't say it loud enough. It's my fault.
Right. Okay. I think we've approved the consent agenda. All right, public period. Again, if you have another turn at the mic for anybody who wants to have it for any non-agenda item this evening. None. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll close the public period and move on to decisions, of which there are none. We have a discussion item, which is the Orange County redistricting potential maps on that. Sharon, do you have?
Sure. So, as you know, the Orange County is going through their redistricting, something they're required to do every 10 years. So this is based on the new census data. The goal is to even out the districts due to the growth. And so it's just moving some lines around. They're going through a public process where each commissioner and the mayor have appointed residents to represent them on an advisory committee. And they've been going through meetings. There's been 14 map proposals at this point. There were a whole bunch of them that were added just today, and I'm assuming that they have a meeting tonight They have a meeting next Monday. So there's a couple more meetings left. But just without going through every single map, 5 of the 8 still under consideration have no impact on Maitland. We stay right where we are. There's 3 that split the district. So it splits us between 2 districts, which is District 2 and District 5. One divides us at 1792, one divides at I-4, and one just divides us. It looks like Keller Road, but it's hard to tell on the map with the map, but that's what it looked like to me, or maybe Summit Center, but it's over on the west side. Only one divides us sort of on the east, 1792 on the east side. And I spoke to a number of other cities, municipalities, and folks in other counties as well about what's the upside or downside of being split. Like how traumatic is that suddenly some folks are in 2 and some folks are in 5, and Orlando's in 6 districts. So another municipality's in 2, and they actually said it gives them a shot to go to 2 different commissioners when they're looking for assistance. So they didn't see it as a downside, and it's never been a problem, and there's a number of those, not only neighborhoods or areas, but also cities in Seminole County and Orlando. So I'm not sure how traumatic that would even be at this point. I mean, with the 2 commissioners, it would, between 2 and 5, one's a Republican, one's a Democrat, it might not hurt. You'd have both sides covered. So, but logistically, it's not a problem in working with Orange County staff. It's not something they consider. So it's really just when you need to reach out to a commissioner. So I didn't want to have to go through all the maps. They're quite, and they may be gone tonight because they're throwing them out pretty quick. But just wanted to give you all an opportunity to discuss it and how big of a deal, how much more involvement do you want me to have in making recommendations? Because there is an opportunity before December 9th. If we are going to, if folks are opposed to the split district, we probably should let them know. You can make that, you can say that, and then they can still split your district. So you don't really have a lot of control. But if there's any wishes that we want to express, I guess I've become less worried about it as the more I learn about it and how other cities have functioned between multiple districts. Just hasn't been a problem for them.
If you're split, you get the advantage of having to go to 2, but if you're split, does your voice become fairly quiet between those because you don't represent enough of a voting block of the city of Maitland?
Yeah, I'm from, one section of Orlando is like 1% of one district. So, they've got 5 other districts, but
Understood. And not comparing it. I'm asking the question more than I don't know the answer.
I didn't get that impression. I spoke to Castleberry. There's another one that's split. They had no downside to how that works. Some of them they're 30, 60, and even when we stay all in District 5, or if we went all to District 2, we still don't have, we're the small group in there. So if you're thinking about, if we stay where we are, we're a very small number. We'll never have influence over that huge easterly, that whole area out there. The other district is Apopka, Winter Garden, we can ignore by 2 or ignore by 5, whichever you prefer, or ignore by both. They've always been responsive. Staff-wise, we never have a problem on that.
So Mike, I don't know if you saw this, I saw this today, is that, the numbers that they're playing with is 236,000 to 238,000 per district. So, we're 20,000 even in 5, back to the point, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be 10% in
one, and then 5% in another, right?
Yeah.
So.
It's hard for me to get excited about. Right now our current county commissioner, her focus is out east, so we don't, pays us too much attention. So, the fact that we might have another commissioner is probably wouldn't be a bad thing. If we had 2 years, we could then So I don't, to be honest, in all my years of covering local government, I never saw any advantage to what county commission district you're in. So I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what, it's kind of, you know, the whole ignore thing, it didn't matter, I mean, if we have Republican or Democrat, I think, you know, back to, we're a small market, so I don't think we've gotten a lot of love in the past. So, I mean, is it a, you know, split, doesn't matter, kind of sad to say.
Yeah, I guess the only, I mean, if we all felt strongly or even felt at all that we wanted it one way or the other, I mean, we could us, Sharon, and we could all lobby individually as well, or you could, I can weigh in as the mayor and see if we could sway the decision somehow. But I'm not sure we have, I mean, among the four of us here tonight, do we have any strong feelings about whether you want to be split 60-40 or one way, or, you know, they all seem to be splits of roughly 70-30 or 60-40. I mean, it's not, you know, not like shaving off a little bit of it.
Well,
So.
9 and 10 keeps us, our old one, and keeps us all together.
Right, I see 3 of them that kept us all together and 3 of them that would have split us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and there was one that was real bad, like really cut into 2 and was all the way in, I think, almost into Domrick or something, right?
That's 1792 divide.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I kind of like 9 and 10, it keeps us all together. I mean, and 2, I think Mr. Thomas made the point of, you know, in a couple of years, you know, you might get a new commissioner in here that really is gung-ho.
The growth is all out east.
Yeah.
We're pretty much stagnant. I mean, comparatively speaking, and we're still growing, but you know, I think the school board boundaries are a lot more important than this. But anyway, I don't have any real strong.
Mike, do you have any real strong feelings or any feelings about which you'd rather be split or not split, or in 2 or in 5 if we weren't split?
I think that the lines are going to be, I mean, I think that division of 1792 or by 4 kind of creates maybe a distinction in the city that we probably don't want, but that'd be my concern. It's just from where they draw the line. There's no good way to do it, right? If you're going to draw the line anywhere in the city, but I think there's school lines, or a couple of the school lines are at 1792. I think everything east of 1792 goes to Winter Park, everything west of 1792 goes to Edgewater. Sebelia and Domrick, that line is different. That line is somewhere just west of America, because Minnehaha Circle goes, I don't know, anyway, it's right around there. It's west of Domrick is that line. So it seems to me like you start dividing this up more, and then you start, but not like anybody, I don't know how many people in the city know
What district they're in.
what district they're in. But I just, in other words, that adds to the division. I just think it's from a more harmonious, like we're all on the same page, kind of, to the extent that there's ever an issue countywide that people would get interested in. I think it would be an interesting split, because you have one segment of the city versus another. And again, how often that happens? Probably not that often, but it might potentially cause a potential for divide in the city, I think, if you have something like that.
Yeah, they've only done the legal analysis up through 10, so on 1A, 6A, 9, and 10. For 11 and 12, which divided at 1792 and I-4, there is no legal analysis. I couldn't really tell if it's going to pass muster, and that's what sometimes gets them thrown out, is they do the legal analysis. Because they don't necessarily like to divide a municipality. I mean, they're just trying to move numbers and be neutral about how they're doing it. But the one that split it on I-4, which has gone through the legal analysis, it was done by a District 6 appointee who has no idea, probably just saw a line and said, this looks like a good dark line on the map.
Right.
Is that Norman Gardens?
Yes. But I mean, he's focused on District 6. That's what he was appointed to represent, and trying to put those neighborhoods together. and just, we're all the way up at the county line. It's like, oh, here's an interstate, or,
I think from my perspective, more of a staff level, would you think that us being split would have a negative effect on our ability to get attention at the county level? And if the answer is no, then I think it's more of just, do we have any influence on where these lines should be drawn? If the city's going to be split, is there some more fair way to do this or not? And there might not be. I mean, this might just be, you got to draw the line somewhere, and it's going to look arbitrary to somebody.
The thing is, and this has always been kind of the feeling in Maitland, has just been an east and west side kind of thing. And that's kind of why I like to just keep everything together and not really, even draw the line there. So, your commissioner's on that side of 1792, this commissioner's on this side. It's keeping us a little more harmonious. But, but talking about, getting thrown out, I was just looking, there's already been 8 maps withdrawn from consideration for this. So could be, in a couple of weeks, it goes down to 3 or 4. And then I guess my question is, even if we say, hey, listen, we like 9, 10, 11, 12, what kind of pull do we have to voice our, opinion about which way or direction we'd like to go?
Well, after, I think, when it would be too late is when the committee made their recommendations, because then it's going to the full county commission. Mm-hmm. So we get into whoever submitted it, which district commissioner or appointee submitted it, and then figuring out the why. Like, why is the line here? If it was just like, well, that's where we ended up. So you could certainly express, what I got was you can express your opinion, but ultimately, the advisory committee is the one that's going to make a recommendation. They would listen. I started out thinking it would be a horrible thing, and then sort of full circle to go, or 180 to go. No, everyone I talk to that's been split, they don't see it as an issue. I don't even know how many residents reach out to Commissioner Bonilla when they have an issue. I'm assuming it's very few. I'm thinking they call you guys.
Well, yeah, and if you think about the issues that we've had over the past, since all of your tenures on, has there ever been an issue where you needed to go, or we needed to go to the county commission?
CRA. So the CRA and then the CRA bonds, and then revising our CRA. It's never been an issue. We go to more than just our own district commissioner. We go to the others.
Well, so Sharon, what are the critical dates here? When do we need to start? If we're interested in lobbying one position or another, what are the?
So the public hearing is December. Sorry, I put my green sheet there.
Tuesday tonight, right?
These are public,
meetings,
input meetings. I believe it's December. Let me just get in here. Went to sleep.
The 5th, December 5th?
No.
Tallahassee rules the state anyway, so.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with it.
But it's December, and that they will have their final.
The last one listed on their website is December 13th. There's one on December 9th.
December.
So I believe December 9th.
So our current commissioner appointed somebody to be on this.
They had 2 appointees.
Each commissioner had 2.
Each commissioner has 2, and then the mayor appoints, I believe, 3. The vice chair and the chair.
12, 13, 14. I mean, they're just going to draw these based on their own, what's best for their own political situation.
Yeah, and what's kind of key is like where the commissioner lives in that upcoming meeting.
So we only basically for we could either be with the Apopka group or we could be with the East Orange County group. And there was, at one point, I heard, there was a proposal that would have gone right down I-4. I think that would have drawn a lot of, and it would have looked a lot more like we look, you know, I mean, you know, part of the park going down I-4, you know, the cities that are kind of built out, but that's been withdrawn, so.
So Thursday, December 9th would be, because that's when they're going to cull down the maps that will be for that public hearing on the 13th. So Thursday, December 9th. So we can continue to monitor those, you know, maps. Like I said,
we're not going to meet again until, what's our meeting would be the 5th, 6th?
So our meeting is that same night, Monday, December 13th. So if something were to happen, we could do a, you know, special meeting, you know, we needed to have a.
Well, I'd almost trust you and the mayor to kind of figure this out, and then if the mayor needs to meet with our council members.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to do that. I don't want to misrepresent your positions or anybody.
You know, I don't care either way, to be honest. I think there's advantages. I think right now, being in the east, I think we're a smaller fish, and that our, you know, I think all the attention goes out to the east, where the growth is, and where more Democrats are, and so.
You think we're better off with the Apopka?
Probably.
Wanting to split?
Well,
You're not going to get the whole city into
no, but I mean,
District 2.
you know, to me, if we have someone in the west and someone in the east, you know, which of the east and which of the west, you know, we can go in either direction and have it bend somebody's ear. Here we bend somebody's ear, we don't care what we have to say. So.
Yeah, but then you go to what Mr. Wild was saying, where now you're taking from 10% of the vote to only 5%
I
of the vote.
to be honest, I've covered local government again forever and ever, and I've never seen any situation where a county district line mattered for a city. It's just, I mean, it's something we think about and obsess about, but in the real world, it really doesn't affect people's lives. But
Unless you're the people out east, and then you get.
well, I mean, no. I mean, what? So, you know, if we get divided, I don't really care because I don't think it's a big deal. But the logic of having, you know, a second go-to on the county commission, whereas now we basically have no go-to.
So you think we're better off being split then?
Well, I don't.
Put in each camp?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't object to that. Again, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay. I don't hear much down from your end. Any thoughts?
And I think we've beaten this. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of questions with not a lot. I mean, it's sort of one of those how we can play out a bunch of hypothetical scenarios, how this is going to hurt us or help us, and I'm not sure that there's a clear direction. I think dividing the city, like I said before, I think that provides potentially a possibility for unnecessary division within a city, to the extent that some issue could come up that could do that, which again is hypothetical that I can't necessarily dream up.
Well, I think the only purpose, the purpose of the meeting, I think, or this item, I think, is one, for our information, but two, if we felt strongly as a body that we wanted to do one or the other, we could, you know, deputize Sharon or me or whoever to go and lobby that position. But I don't feel that that's.
No, that's why I say I can keep an eye on them, because they are changing. Some will get thrown out, you know, before the end of the week, because they're going to have to do the legal analysis. Cliff, did you have any? I know you dealt with their redistricting stuff before, and.
Well, I had gotten heads up that they might be splitting Maitland. I'll do my source unnamed. But as I'm sitting here listening to the debate, the only thing I can weigh in on, at least in terms of the possibility of a difference, is if you had a unifying issue for Maitland and 2 commissioners were advocating for it, you'd have a better chance of passage than if only 1 was. But beyond that, I don't know. I mean, I know that they are going to be paying close attention to trying to make sure that there's not a redistricting challenge, which happens sometimes because of the alleged failure to comply with constitutional principles. But I don't think, that, at least knock on wood, that won't happen. And I think that the discussion that it probably won't matter either way, that's probably accurate. But if it's going to matter, having 2 people on council, on the commission that support you is probably better than just 1.
So something like home rule, an example?
Well, sort of, yeah.
All right. Well,
So you heard, I'm sorry, I didn't catch you. You've heard that they do want to split Maitland up?
I had gotten a tip that this was an item of discussion that was going to come forward and that I might want to pass it along, and I did.
was there any nefarious designs in splitting Maitland, or is that just?
No, no nefarious design, at least as far as it was communicated to me, because even the person that contacted me did not know the motivations, but just thought that I, as a city attorney, would want to know that information. So I said, okay, well, thank you, and I passed it along. But at the end of the day, the analysis of whether it hurts or helps, that is beyond my ability to predict.
Okay. Well, I guess we're all educated on this now, and to the extent we feel strongly about it, we can go talk to the people who are doing the redistricting, the district committee, or talk to their individual commissioners and give them their opinion. I don't know.
So rather than having a city opinion, we just have an individual opinion.
Well, I don't think we have a city opinion. I feel that I've heard at least 3 up here tonight, so I'm not sure we're going to forge one tonight. So
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, do you think we need to solidify a position on this? Because
I don't
I see the benefit of being both.
Yes, I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So we'll monitor it and just keep you informed about what's going on.
Yeah. Yep.
And there are the appointees of the different districts were the folks we should be reaching out to, and then once it gets to the commission, reach out. The appointees are representing each of the commissioners on the advisory committee. So if there's any strong feelings, that's where it starts.
Okay. Good. Okay, let's move on to reports. Mr. City Attorney, do you have a report?
Just briefly, as I think you all now know, Peacock Board folks did file an amended complaint, added 3 new counts. I don't like discussing legal strategy, so I'll just simply say that they don't concern me more than the first one.
All right. Okay, and what's the timetable on that? I guess they filed, you're going to file?
Right, we requested an extension so we can write a detailed memorandum in opposition, or motion to dismiss, excuse me, I keep getting the terms confused, on the 29th. That would have otherwise been due sometime next week. But we want to make sure we cover the new law that applies. Some of the old law that still applies to the new counts for some of the same reasons. But we will cover all of that, and if you're into reading such things and you need some good reasons to go to sleep at night, we'll send it to you. You can certainly do that. But it was my impression that our judge understood the arguments, because within less than 12 hours after us making them, he filed a dismissal. And I expect, but can't guarantee, the same thing will happen again. But I will also hasten to add, and anytime you want to talk about resolving it, I'm okay with that. I'm just evaluating the legal part of it. Whether it's in your interest to continue or not, that's a different thing.
Okay. And not to get into too much detail, but I think we kind of made an offer of settlement.
We did, and it got met with a different offer. And so, if there's a desire on the way, we haven't had a shade meeting, and the reason I hate those things, and the reason I hate them is because of the limitations on them. But one of the limitations that you fit within is the discussion of possible settlement. So if there is a desire, or if I get the sense that there's a desire for a shade meeting so I can have more open discussion, then I'm more than happy to do it. But the way it works logistically is I have to ask for it, and I'm not going to ask for it unless I have a sense that you all want it.
I don't necessarily think it's time for shaving even anybody else, seen. But, if you want to send me the brief, I'd be interested in reading that. I will.
And it'll be pretty clear to you what our reasons are.
Okay. All right. Is there any exclamation points in it?
No, but I think they might see some arguments they've seen before, and I will wonder aloud why they didn't see them and respond to them the first way. But hey, I'm just a dumb lawyer. They know more than me.
Okay, city manager.
Just a few things. One, I know at least 3 of you went to the farmers market this weekend, and just want to thank Robert and Jay and his team for all their hard work. It was hard work, but it was really a great event. It's a beautiful day, a little on the cool side. I got sunburned, but it was a great turnout. I thought it couldn't really gone any better. And
Okay, you preempted your council member here.
oh well, I'm not done yet, so you can we'll forget I said anything. And then just I'm sure you saw the invite from the venue. They're doing a veterans event Thursday night, and you've all been invited if you want to go. I believe it's from 6 to 9. So it's free to veterans, and then I think there's a slight charge for non-veterans. So, and then Councilman Guthrie, you asked about Metro plans. So we did have a meeting last week, and the focus was on funding that they got. They got additional, we call it ARPA money, so from the federal government, and how they've chosen to spend that is for the beyond the ultimate. So as they're wrapping up the ultimate, they're going further. So it's Sanford area and then all the way down. They're extending those, I keep calling them Lexus lanes, but I know there's a better term for them, but they're extending those lanes all the way down to like 535, westbound, not eastbound.
So those would be tolled,
Tolled,
also.
yeah, yeah. So that's how they're spending that, and a few other, but none of those, they're wrapping up here, so it's going to be there. So the pain will continue. So even when the ultimate's done, the beyond the ultimate, the time frame is like starting. They're letting it out. They're letting out the work soon because, as you know, the funds are they have a timeline, so they want to spend them. So they're letting it out in 22 next year. And really no other updates for them.
I know out there by Disney, they can use all the extra lanes they can get.
And then for links was their final thing. Our shuttle 652 Neighbor Link is going to be doing 20 minutes. It's changing to 20 minutes each way. Supposedly that's so I guess people are still riding it because I think it was 30 minutes. So it sounds like they're maybe more. It has survived lots of changes and cuts, which is interesting to me because I don't think the Sunrail numbers are great. But that was all they covered.
Is there a report that comes out on Sunrail?
I can get you the boardings report, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember last time it averaged like $5 per person per ride or something
Yeah.
we were paying.
Yeah, no, I can download the boardings report. That'll tell you how many people are riding to Maitland and how that's changed. We can download it over time. Because the last time I downloaded was kind of just as COVID was over last September,
Right.
and it was pretty miserable numbers for Maitland. I think we had gone from like 9th to 10th, like second worst.
Hey, refresh, are we still having to take that over in the near future?
It's been pushed out a year, so I believe the mayor, Mayor Demings, is coming back with his infrastructure tax, transportation tax, is what I understand. That will be part of the upcoming discussions.
Yeah, he's I heard him speak the other day. Yes, he's back on with the penny sales tax.
Yeah.
That kind of died, didn't it?
Yeah, kind of timed that poorly.
But that's all I had.
Okay, thanks, Sheriff. All right. Mr. Thomas, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I was gonna give a shout out to Jay over there, who and the rest of the staff for putting that farmers market together so quickly and successfully. I mean, when we built this original area and the plans we had and the goals we had, this sort of like checked every box. We had people all over the park. We have families. There's so many kids playing on those blow-up slides and obstacle courses. Our poor city staffer was having a heart attack trying to keep up with them. The restaurants across Sanford Brewery, those guys were packed. They couldn't have been happier. I talked to the woman at Houndstooth, and the first thing she said was, "We've just seen a lot of new faces," and that's kind of the goal, is to introduce people to this area. And when they go in there and have Houndstooth and their excellent food, then they know it's there. They know how to get there. They know how to park to get there, and so they'll be coming back. So it just kind of, as we designed this thing or planning it years ago as a gathering place for the city, it just kind of came to fruition on Sunday, and that was a beautiful thing to see. And we'll get a produce vendor next Sunday, and maybe some goop dogs, and it couldn't have gone better. So again, hats off. I know Jay had personal issues with the loss of his grandmother, and there were some other staff issues, and despite all that, they pulled that together. So major kudos.
All right, thanks. No, nothing? Well, I would just echo Mr. Thomas and Sharon. I'm not going to go through it all, but yes, thanks, Jay, and thanks to all your crew. So it was looked like an all-hands kind of deal out there. Everybody was dealing with traffic and dealing with getting people in there, and it was nice to see. It was a nice Sunday. And next weekend is the Rotary Art Festival, which I'm sure you all know about. So just keep that in mind. Get ready to go over there and spend some more money, walk around Lake Bowen. And also the vendors get an extra vending day because they would have otherwise been conflicted with the Rotary Art Festival, not been able to be out next week, but this time they can go out, be there on Sunday, and the Art Festival will go ahead. So that's all I have. Well, you did a great job. I want to thank you for arranging all the invitation today, and you need your wife to around all those kids, and it was great work. It was really impressive. So thank you for thinking of that. Thank you.
Well, and really, they wanted me to express thanks to Maria for helping put it together, and thank you, John, for allowing them to do that. And we've reached out to a bunch of the schools, and I think Dominic has expressed an interest in doing this as well. I think it's a great experience for the kids to get up and speak, and their parents came in. And I think it's a nice thing to give them an opportunity to do this. So I appreciate everyone taking the time to do it, and Maria especially for helping coordinate it all. So I think it was great. Nice experience.
Just one more thing, sorry, before we go. Maria reminded me, and it's right in front of me and I forgot it. Your Thanksgiving hams are in the refrigerator in the ante room. And so since we canceled the next meeting, y'all going to take them tonight. They're refrigerated, not frozen, but you can freeze them, I understand, if you so choose, for up to 6 months.
Okay, so what, we switched from turkey to ham, was there
Supply chain issues?
Not sure the pigs appreciate that, but.
Okay, all right, anything else? Anybody got anything? Ray, anything? Just not just on the spot. Thank you. Well, thank you for putting that together. I didn't realize you were off. Thank you for helping me. All right, we're adjourned.